If you can change one major issue related to mental health in the firm world, what would it be?
It's hard to choose one. One that just comes to my mind happens to be something I'm involved with a little bit is making access to mental health easier for our community. There are numerous ways in which that can be done. One way, again, just off the top of my head, that can be helped to be accomplished would be through financial therapy subsidization, allowing therapy to quality therapists to be more affordable, but at the same time recognizing not necessarily simply by just figuring out a way to get therapists to charge less, but there are models out there that are quite successful but overburdened, but it's something to copy potentially and expand on where there are organizations that are specifically looking to utilize CLAL funds for subsidizing therapy. So even if it's not going to make the therapy free, if they're paying for half the fee of the therapy, that makes a huge difference to people and it makes therapy just much more accessible to people. And then sometimes the insurance companies, depending on your insurance, can pick up the rest, even if it's out of network reimbursement, which
Mm-hmm.
many are out of network, they still can sometimes pick up some. But I think beyond the insurance companies, which are limited in what they can provide for out-of-network therapists, these organizations can use a lot of help, the ones that exist already, and potentially establishing additional ones for maybe each one community driven. It's a big conversation, but that would be one idea. If I could snap my fingers and one thing changes, I guess I would say nobody should have to struggle with any mental health issues. But if we can't change that, then it would be utilizing these organizational strategies to make therapy more accessible as far as funding.
If therapy were to take shorter amount of time, let's say 3 months or 6 months rather than years, wouldn't that also be a potential avenue for decreasing the cost of therapy overall?
Yeah, absolutely. I would rephrase your question to be asked as, can therapy take shorter? And my
Mhm.
answer to that is a resounding yes. It can, situation specific, of course, but there's no world in which I live in which every therapy client relationship must be at least 3 months, must be at least 6 months, must be years long. In fact, I think just the opposite. I think actually every single therapeutic alliance and relationship that's built, therapy to therapist to client to patient, should be with the assumption that the therapist is trying their best to ultimately end therapy as soon as is responsibly possible and allow that client to then take the tools, the newfound perspectives, the resilience that they have gained, and live their lives without the therapist involved, certainly on any sort of regular basis. Check-ins, very once in a while sessions, okay, that can be an idea of maintenance, but we're talking once a month, once every 3 months type of a check-in session. And we're talking about maybe even more frequent, maybe once every 2 weeks, very quick check-ins, things like that, but always looking to say, when can we get to that place in the therapy that I'm providing?
Yeah.
I have many clients who I transition out of weekly sessions, sometimes as soon as 4, 5, 6 sessions in, because some of it was just assessing to what degree are we dealing with a particular diagnosis. And I would also just add, every client should expect from their therapy, from their therapist. I don't know if therapists are going to be upset about me saying this, but it's my opinion that within 4 to 6 sessions, there should be something tangible that they can point to that they have gained from their sessions. It
Mhm.
can be a particular tool, a particular reframe, a particular new perspective to consider. Something tangible should be gained, which means that in 4, 5, or 6 sessions, in most therapy relationships and alliances, there can be a conversation, there should be a conversation where it's like, hey, I think at this point we have accomplished this. It's a relatively small accomplishment, let's say, but we have accomplished this. It's something you can take with you and it can enhance, it can help you throughout your life. And we don't necessarily have to continue. My professional recommendation in many cases might be we should still continue. I think there's still more to do. I think there are some core issues here that need to be dealt with. What are your thoughts? Think about it. It's up to you. But we can have that conversation where we actually identify, even if it's sometimes small, but an actually tangible, significant accomplishment that the therapy has helped this client with. I think that's really important. So overall, yes, their sessions can be shorter, and obviously that would have an impact on the finances, as you asked.
Yeah. It's just sometimes gets lost in the conversation, I think. So finally, if you could send one powerful message to the Frum community about mental health, what would it be?
One powerful message to the frum community. I guess I would say that, like we began with, when we talked about does a person who experienced something traumatic, do they necessarily need therapy? I think it's really important for people to understand that I think it's especially true in the frum community. We all care and we want to help. We really want to help. And that's why we're in this profession. We can choose all sorts of lines of work, some of which, perhaps many of which, can make a lot more money than therapy, despite the fact that it's a hot topic now that therapy is something that the therapists are charging so much, especially the good therapists. Okay, there's truth to that, and it makes it frustrating and difficult to afford. At the same time, it still is a time-based profession. It's not a project-based or passive income-based profession where the potential is far more beyond whatever I can charge per hour, and obviously the maximum of 24 hours per day. So we want to help. And the message, therefore, is never hesitate to reach out. Reach out to an organization that is working in mental health. Amudim is a fantastic organization. Reach out to Dr. Kobernick and her organization and her network that she has, a very powerful network to be able to potentially get you to the right places. Reach out to us, to the other organizations in town. I'm not going to start listing them. There's so many that you may know of, that you may not know of. Do some research in the frum community. We are excellent with word of mouth. Speak to the Rebbeim, speak to the principals in the schools, speak to the social workers and guidance counselors and mashgichim, speak to your neighbors if that's your thing, and you'll find out about different organizations that are out there, and don't hesitate to reach out. Worst case scenario, it's a phone call. They tell you, yeah, that's not really within our purview. They themselves may say, but try them or try them and guide you in the right direction. Never hesitate to reach out. Worst case scenario, you realize, you know what, maybe I don't need additional support right now. Maybe I'll try therapy, and the therapist tells you after 2 sessions, I think we're good for now. Let's see how the next few weeks go and be in touch again. No harm done. No harm done in that. Never hesitate to reach out to the organizations and to the professionals in our community, because the worst case scenario is that you feel alone and you're not getting the help that you need. And that really triggers the worst possible outcomes. On the other hand, if you get the help that you need, that's fantastic. And the only downside is you spent some time opening up doors that you never know. Even if they didn't help you now and you didn't need the help now in the end, you might need them in the future. So never hesitate to reach out.